on the tape in case I don't put the Astons in? Things like that.
It's Gennaro Castaldo, G-E-N-A-R-O-C-A-S-T-A-L-D-O, Senior PR and Press Officer for HMV UK Limited.
Okay. Really, the simple thing is, first point of this discussion is we're talking about people who've set up or are in the process of setting up an internet computer, internet jukebox system, where you can download the music and expecting to be able to download up to 400,000 tracks to begin with, and possibly even more later. Now they seem to imply that this is going to be the death knell, quite possibly, of the record industry. How is the record industry dealing with, something like this?
Right. Do you want the answer now? Yeah. Do I look to you or to the camera? Well, obviously, I think the revolution in technology presents opportunities as well as threats, and it's something that we can't afford to be complacent about. But ultimately, I think it's very much a social experience. People enjoy actually going out shopping, particularly younger people. Certainly outside of London, to be able to actually meet in a local record store and sort of flick through all the latest releases is actually a very important social experience. So, although clearly some people may prefer sort of going via the internet, I think the vast majority of record buyers would prefer to sort of actually go to the record store.
But do you feel that when people got CDs first instead of records, they said it wasn't the same feel of the album and all that picture on the front wasn't as big? Do you think the internet won't provide the experience of buying a record as owning a CD, the packaging?
Yeah, certainly that's another part of it as well. I think it sounds, for all its advantages, it sounds a very cold and clinical kind of way of getting into your music, and for that reason I think that's why most people would still prefer to actually sort of go to the local HMV or other record shop.
One of the points that was made by the first people I interviewed was they said that they would provide the opportunity to get music from hundreds of thousands of sources, from signed artists, from unsigned artists, all across the world. You could get music straight from Delhi and places, and they said the problem was the record company limited the output, but they said the record shops, they felt, were the ones who really restricted the output. They were like sort of a bottleneck. They put the prices, they increased the prices manyfold to make their profit on it, and the choice of thousands got reduced to maybe the choice of a few hundred.
Well, I think that is obviously a simplistic way of looking at it. I mean, if you're a small independent record store in Cambridge, then you're not going to be able to sort of stock such a massive range. Here at this particular store, which is our flagship, we've got nearly 200,000 titles, 10,000 import titles. We have a mail order line where you can order anything you want and get next day delivery. So I think the access to a wide range of music is actually there. So I'm sure through the internet there may be a wider coverage across the world. But I think most people are just fairly keen to have a local record shop that they can go to. I don't think they want to be able to reach India sort of overnight unless they're the most sort of obsessed music fans or computer users.
Do you think some people would feel swamped by it and kind of need guiding in the way the record shop?
Well, that's something we work very hard here. I mean, when we talk about customer service, it's not just people sort of smiling and wishing them a nice day. It's actually having a great deal of knowledge about the product and knowing when something is coming out, or how many recordings there are of a certain thing, particularly in, say, classical music. And that's an important part for a customer to be able to come in and know exactly what they need to find out. And another point, I think, which ought to be mentioned, is that it probably is very expensive to set up in the first place. I think it's okay if you're a fairly affluent sort of professional who's got a high disposable income to start sort of buying all these expensive bits of hardware. But I think for the average record buyer, that's going to be